All right, guys, so the next section here, we have examples 4 through, let me look, actually 4 through 11. Um, and honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. If you go back to, I think, section 4.2, maybe, I can't remember exactly, but I think that, I think we've already did problems like this. In other words, what I'm getting at is for questions 4 through 10. They're asking you to use the reference angle to find the exact value. And we already discussed about, periods and rotations and how we can look at an angle and determine where it falls on the unit circle. So what I'm saying is, while we didn't use the vocabulary word, the term reference angle, we have been using reference angles, and we've already did that to answer some questions, some homework questions. But I would do a couple of these as a reminder. I do not feel the need to do all of these because honestly, if you have your unit circle with you, a lot of this is just pulling it from the unit circle. The only thing I feel that I may need to do is maybe one of those that has a rotation. So maybe 8, number 8. And I don't know, number 7 is a negative. So we're going the opposite direction. And honestly, we already did that same value, I think. And I think we might can look at number 10. So we'll look at these and we'll put these all in the same video. And I think that will be sufficient for these parts here. So number 7. Number 7 is asking me to find the cosecant of negative 11/6 pi. Okay. So let's imagine, and I would highly recommend that you pause this video and you either Google the unit circle so you can have a copy of it in front of you. There's tons. If you Google unit circle, you're going to get a PDF somewhere that you can look at. Or go back to your notes and look at the one that was provided in your notes. But if I look at the unit circle, okay, what happens here for me, the way I would look at this, is that I notice, let me pick a different color. I notice that 11/6 is down here somewhere. 11/6 pi. But we want negative 11/6. So what that means is, instead of measuring that angle going around this way to 11/6 pi, okay, instead of going that way, remember that is our positive direction. What we are actually doing is going in the opposite direction. So negative 11/6 pi is over here somewhere. And all that is that 11/6 pi reflected over the x-axis. So that angle that was down here is now up there. Okay, and if you look on your unit circle, I know I have kind of a mess here, but that point on my unit circle is actually, let's write this down, the square root of 3/2 and 1/2. So that's that. So why is that helpful? Well, what I know is that the cosecant, if you go back in your notes, and let me look because I don't want to tell you a story. I think it was at the beginning of these notes. Yeah, your cosecant theta was given to you, and they told you that it was r over y. Well, let's imagine we're on the unit circle. So in that case, we would say that r is equal to 1, right? So in this case, my cosecant of a negative 11/6 pi is going to be equal to my r, which is 1 on the unit circle, and my y for this particular problem is 1/2. And if I take 1 and divide it into a half, What that gives me, cosecant of a negative 11/6 is going to be equal to 2. So I have my answer, but if I'm being honest, I think the concept of what they're wanting you to understand is, of course, that is the answer, but they want that reference angle. So that negative 11/6, I guess I should also put here that the reference angle, the angle that I used on my unit circle to get those values, so that negative 11/6 radian or pi, I know that is the same thing as cosecant of 1/6. And I'm running out of room, so pi over 6. So that is really the concept here, understanding that that pi over 6, that is the reference angle that we use to pull those values from. Okay, so that I guess that's the new concept here. So if we look at number 8 is a bit different. So we have cotan of 540. So again, I would maybe sketch this out. I have a quadrant plane, and we start here. And if I do 540 degrees, okay, so what that is, 540 is we're going around 360 degrees, and then we're going to add another 180 degrees. So 540 degrees ends up there on the x-axis. So cotan, what is cotan? Well, my ratio for cotan, I know that cotan theta is equal to x over y. Well, on my unit circle, if I am on that x-axis, the point there that falls there is negative 1, 0. So if I use those values, what I have is negative 1 divided by 0, and that is undefined. And then this last one, number 10, the way it's presented to us is a little bit different. And again, have that unit circle in front of you, and it's not as difficult as what it could be. But it says find two angles between 0 and 360 degrees. So within that first rotation, we're not going around that unit circle again. We don't want to have, I guess, what we would refer to as maybe higher order rotations. I don't know if that makes sense, but we want to find where cosine is equal to negative square roots of 3 over 2. And as a reminder, what is cosine? If we refer to the way we referred to earlier as cosine, well, in our notes today, we have x over r as cosine. But on the unit circle, if we remember on the unit circle, we know that r is equal to 1. So that tells us that cosine theta is simply x, right? X divided by 1 is just x. So in other words, what this is asking me to find is where, so how could I write this different? In layman's terms, where is x equal to the negative square root of 3 over 2? That is it. That's all they're asking for. So if I'm looking for that, where is x equal to negative square root of 3 over 2? I have that at, let's see, if I look at my unit circle, I have that 5/6 radian, and also at 7/6 radian. So that is in radians, but I could write this in degrees. So that is the same thing. So I could say, or I could write this as 150 degrees and at 210 degrees.